Flooding rains will continue to be a threat for a good portion of the eastern U.S., as well as severe weather. And we'll give you all the details today in today's forecast next. So let's review the severe weather threat for today. I do have the severe weather threat also posted in a short I just uploaded. So if you don't want to spend some time listening to this, you can just look at that real quickly. I try to upload those um, as much as I can here. But in general, we have a level 3 out of 5 risk here centered on the Davenport area. And this is the categorical risk, right? So it just shows general the highest risk areas, right? So this will be updated again in a little while, around 8:30 a.m. Eastern, so which would be 7 a.m. Central. Excuse me. So you see where the highest risk areas are. All right. So tornado risk is highest here, centered in the Davenport area, right? With a 10% tornado risk, and you see the hatching there. That is the EF2 risk. Okay, up to EF2 tornadoes, not EF2 risk. Reasonably expected max intensity tornadoes around EF2. Okay, so EF2 is considered a strong tornado, right? So just to the south of this here and parts of Kentucky, Tennessee, we could get tornadoes, but less likely to be strong. Okay, so really the biggest threat today, as far as coverage goes, is the wind, right? But tornadoes at EF2 can be 100 some miles an hour. So if you do get a tornado, of course, that'd be more impactful. But straight line winds can be damaging as well. So we see where it's centered pretty much in the same area where the tornado threat is highest as well, with a 30% chance of winds exceeding could get up to a hurricane force wind gusts, right? So around 75 miles per hour, anywhere in the hatched area. And like I said, greatest coverage in the red area here. As far as hail goes, the hail risk, as far as hail intensity, meaning large hail, like 2 inches in diameter, is not as likely today, but the coverage of smaller hail could be 15%. There's a 15% chance of hail falling within 25 miles of the location here. So you think about that. So that leaves 85% of the people probably won't see it. All right, so that's pretty good. I'd take those odds for most times, right? But if it hits your house, regardless of tornado, hail, or wind, you'll say, "Well, I was in that 15%," and that's true. All right, so anyway, it's got a larger risk of marginal risk, which is 5% in the brown area of 1 inch hail in diameter. You could have larger hail, but as of right now, that's what the forecast is. So going in tomorrow, we still have a severe risk here again. It's a little bit to the west here, right? Um, and I'm laughing because this has been a week-long thing. Every day this week we've had some severe threat, and that will continue for the next couple of days. So anyway, Friday, I'm not laughing because it's funny. It's more just that we got this repeated severe threat, and it's getting kind of ridiculous, that we keep having to deal with this, and hopefully we get a break here after the weekend, right? But so anyway, people in the Des Moines area and Missouri area and anywhere in Illinois, Arkansas, Oklahoma are within this threat here, with a level 3 out of 5 centered in the just to the south of Des Moines area, St. Joseph, covering a little bit of Illinois, but mostly on the border between Missouri and Iowa here in the center of it, right? With a larger slight risk going further south into parts of northern Texas, you would say, right? Straight through central Oklahoma, right through Oklahoma City, major city there, Kansas City, and Des Moines. So, highly impactful here. And we have a larger marginal risk extending all the way eastward to parts of Pennsylvania as well. So as for tornado risk, again, we have centered in that area that we just showed you here. We got the tornado risk, right? The greatest coverage of tornadoes is expected in the centered along the Iowa-Missouri border, right? With a hatching again, which means when we talked about this, up to EF2 reasonably expected, okay, if a tornado does form, although 5% leaves most of the population won't see one, okay? So then you have the 2% risk without a hatching down towards Oklahoma. So greatest risk is in the brown area here, at least right now for tomorrow. So again, for tomorrow, the wind risk is the highest here, right? As far as coverage goes, we have this 30% risk of winds possibly reaching hurricane force here, which is 74 plus, right? Centered in that area where the highest tornado focus would be as well. Okay, so Des Moines down to just north of Kansas City here, but anywhere within this stippled hash region, you could have 75-mile-per-hour wind gust, although less, more isolated as we get into the yellow area here. And anywhere outside that hatched area, stippled, I guess you would call it. I don't know what to really call it, but anyway, that's what it is. Anywhere outside of that, you could have 50-knot wind gusts or higher. And of course, in the brown area, less coverage, like we talked about. Up to 2-inch hail is also possible here along this boundary, right? Anywhere from Des Moines, Iowa, down to all the way into southern Texas, going through Wichita Falls, Oklahoma City, and Kansas City. So a lot of major cities here in the crosshairs for tomorrow, right? So the greatest coverage will be in the yellow area here, where there's a 15% chance. But anywhere within the hatched region, like I said, you could get up to 2-inch hail. Now that doesn't preclude it happening other places, but less not a good percentage chance of that happening. More likely 1-inch diameter hail outside of that stippled region there. And going into Saturday, we now have a severe risk here, right? In parts of Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Virginia here, New York, and down in the Mississippi Valley here, right along the Gulf Coast. Um, I won't spend a lot of time talking about this, but so we can refine this forecast as we get into tomorrow, as we get more clarity on the magnitude of this threat. There could be an uptick in this as more confidence emerges. We'll just have to see. But we have enough going on next couple days, today and tomorrow, to really preclude a lot of analysis on this right now. We'll talk about this more tomorrow. As far as today's excessive rainfall outlook, we have a marginal risk here going up into Michigan, down towards Davenport, Iowa, covering Milwaukee as well. So, real quickly, we'll look at the total precip expected here, and you see maybe a couple inches of rain here today. And on the northern side of this, we have ongoing snowfall concerns as well. And I'll try to put together quickly something to talk about that. Also, but there's so much to talk about. I have to put together a short or something and talk about the winter weather impacts. Try not to leave everybody out here. As we go into tomorrow, we have a pretty, well, we have a slight risk of rainfall exceeding flash flood guidance within 25 miles of a point down here into part of southern Texas, central Oklahoma, southwestern Oklahoma, southeastern Oklahoma, northeastern Oklahoma as well, parts of Missouri, Arkansas, and Kansas, with a larger marginal risk going all the way up to southern Wisconsin. So the amount of precip expected here, you can see where that low pressure is moving through, where the most precip here is, and why they have the flood risk in this area. Generally from parts of Texas just to the west of Dallas all the way up to. As we go into Saturday, we have an excessive rainfall outlook that continues along this boundary, right? So marginal risk excessive rainfall all the way from southern Texas all the way up to New York State, going through Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana. And we see how much rainfall here is expected. The most down into the southern part of this area. I wouldn't be surprised they make a slight risk in this area of flooding, excessive rainfall potential here, where it looks like the biggest totals here are a couple inches of rain as we go into Saturday. Now going into the extended here, we have a risk hanging on here in southern Texas, Corpus Christi, near San Antonio and Houston have a marginal risk of excessive rainfall as we go into Sunday. So we'll keep an eye on these threats. The marginal risk, we got to be concerned about it, but not as high an impact as the severe weather that we're having, at least right now. So, but if you have any flooding or anything that's happening to you, you want to talk about, let me know in the comments. I'll be interested to hear what you're seeing out there. So to start off this analysis, we can really see what's going on here. And what I've done, this is the mid-level water vapor satellite loop, okay? And let's see if I put this down here. All right, that'll be better. Um, so mid-level water vapor loop, right? And so you see the flow here, right? Let's see if I can get this pen to draw. Let me draw, but let me bring this back up. All right, now this is working. So you see the trough here, pretty pronounced on the satellite loop. And here's today's severe weather outlook from the SB Storm Prediction Center. You see ongoing convection, the east side of it, and snow up here to the north, all right? And frozen precip on this side, right? And our next system is already moving on shore here out west. That will dive somewhere generally this way and bring severe weather tomorrow, and then shift further to the east on Saturday. So that's what's going on at the mid levels here. So when we transition from the satellite loop to model guidance, this is the HRF Ensemble viewer, right? And this allows us to view all the convective available models as an ensemble, right? And why I have this running here, okay? What you can see here is the different SP Storm Prediction Center outlooks. Today, this is the ongoing one today. This is the rest of the day, and the last one here is tomorrow, right? I know these are all kind of jumbled up together. I'll slow this down a little bit, okay? So you can see it moving through. I'll move it through here. That's what's ongoing right now, right? Then we transition to today's system, right? And you see right here, let me stop it. Stop it here. All right, so you see this trough going through the flow here, which will be the impetus for severe weather today, okay? And your marginal risk down to here. And then you have this, remember I talked about this in the satellite loop, having this closed low sweeping through with a jet max swinging through as well, right? So let's progress this over time and see what happens here into Friday. And that swings through. And here's your 500 millibar mid-level feature. Pretty strong feature as well here with a mid-level jetlet moving to the north here with this, and some divergence going this way, leading to rising air aloft, which means low pressure at the surface, right? So let's center our forecast for today, right? So where we got this, right up in here, right? So let's center on that area now. So this is roughly starting at 9 UTC, which is about what time it is now, right? And we get to 12Z. This is where we begin our secondary, which is today's threat, right? So you have this enhanced risk here, showers and storms just ongoing right now, which could limit the intensity convection, all right? But you see what happens here. You have just a lot of convection ongoing to start with. Then you have this overnight 2300 UTC. You see some rotating updrafts, 2300 UTC meaning later tonight, right? Rotating updrafts in this area, okay? So this is the HRR representation, HRW, ARW, FE3, just different models, okay? Representation of this, okay? So, and so another thing we look at with looking at the surface here, okay, we look at the dew points, right? And this tells us how much energy we got. And this is the surface low moving to the north, okay? And you have increased moisture content here, and right along where the surface low moves, and you have like a warm front generally in this area, okay? So It's not a great drawing, but you get the idea here. Warm front anywhere south of it, and right along the warm front could have some convection firing here, right? Anywhere in this warm sector, convection as well, right? So, but the best forcing and helicity is in this area, meaning spin in the atmosphere. As part of that surface low moving to the north, we have this low-level jet that is strengthening overnight as well, and that's not atypical here. Nocturnal jet associated with a surface low, advecting warm, moist air to the north here, increased winds at the surface, and vorticity leads to tornado possibilities, rotating updrafts. Okay, so that's an important part of this for today's threat. And you can see here, this is a pretty cool, neat observation, not observation, a graphic that you could overlay here from the SPC, along with up max 2 to 5 kilometer updraft velocity, which gives us an idea what rotating storms would be. Okay, so and the 5 and 2 are the percentages here as of this run, right? So 12. They have another one that when this runs at 12Z, this is up till 12Z, right? UTC. Okay, so there'll be another update in the middle of the day, and they may update this, but that's what this looks like now. So you see what the coverage of tornadoes will be, your 5 and 2% lines here, all right? So we look at hail guidance, and this is why the hail, let's put the hail up on here. You know, not expecting a big coverage of hail, although you see the risk here is not even shaded, all right? You go to tornado here. So your tornado risk, the SPC guidance, you see where the hatched area is here. So you see why the hail risk is less based on the 24 neighborhood probability of hail, right? And here's your rotating updrafts again, okay? So we go back to, let's see here. Significant tornado parameter value, we already looked at that. So this is the last thing I'm going to show on this map, right? But I want to go over the surface-based CAPE, which is energy to surface. You see, to start off with, we have some shading here also showing the helicity max, like we showed before, and the surface to 500 millibar shear in the contours. You see quite a bit of shear here, anywhere in this area, right? 40, 50 knots. You see the surface-based CAPE in these shaded, darker kind of colors. Uh, Not that high, 500, close to 1,000 joules per kilogram. Okay, I see how it surges to the north here, and you have some updrafts forming as this surges to the north, and you have shear increasing as well. So this is another reason I wanted to show you why we're expecting convection here, along with the surface low moves, and so that's an important parameter to look at as well, as far as energy for the storms to work with. So to review for today, this is the HRRR, which was run a few hours ago, right? Showers and storms moving through. Let's put the SPC outlook for today on the categorical, okay? Just a lot of showers and storms moving through. And then we got a secondary line want to develop tonight, where I think the biggest threat would be, right? So, but we can't rule out some severe storms as this initial push moves through as well. But until we get the warm temperatures and dew points to surge to the north, I don't know. With this ongoing convection, it's going to be hard to get um, a lot of heating. We'll just have to see how this plays out. But if this plays out like this, the forcing may be able to overcome the the lack of heating in the atmosphere. So we'll have to see, and the shear, we'll have to see if that plays out or not. But I have some doubts whether that can be overcome. I guess we'll have to see. But the Storm Prediction Center agrees that we're going to have some semblance of severe threat focused in this area today. So be mindful of this, and to have your tornado action plan in place, even though the tornado threat isn't as high as the wind threat. But 75-mile-per-hour winds can really damage stuff too. So be safe out there. I know I talked a lot today. I appreciate y'all trusting me. Um, Leave any comments or your location and any other things you want to talk about in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer them as quick as I possibly can. I love you all. God bless. Have a great day. Be safe.